Parasites might be small, but their survival strategies are nothing short of nightmarish. These creatures manipulate, control, and often lead their hosts to gruesome ends. Today, we're diving into the top 5 most terrifying parasites in nature that control their hosts. Starting our list at number 5 is the lancet liver fluke. This small flatworm begins its journey when its eggs are expelled in the waste of an infected grazing mammal, like a cow or sheep. These eggs are then ingested by snails, where they hatch and develop into larvae. The parasite continues its development inside the snail until it's expelled in slime-covered balls which are left on vegetation. The true horrors unfold when these slime balls are consumed by an unsuspecting ant. Once inside, the lancet liver fluke takes control of the ant's nervous system, driving it to engage in behavior that's entirely out of character. Normally, ants avoid staying out in the open at night to evade predators, but the infected ant is compelled to climb to the top of a grass blade, where it latches on and waits. It's a risky position, especially in the early morning when grazing animals like cows or sheep might be nearby. The ant is essentially offering itself as a sacrifice, and if it's eaten, the parasite reaches its final destination, the liver of the grazing mammal. Inside the liver, the fluke matures, reproduces, and continues the cycle, with the ant meeting a gruesome fate as a mere pawn in the parasite's life cycle. At number 4, we delve into the world of Toxoplasma gondii. This microscopic organism has a preferred host, cats. However, to get there, it must first infect rodents like rats or mice. Typically, rodents are hardwired to avoid the scent of cat urine, but an infected rodent experiences a complete reversal of this fear. Instead of running away, the rodent is drawn to the scent, making it easy prey for the cat. Once the cat consumes the infected rodent, the parasite can reproduce in the cat's intestines, completing its life cycle. What's even more unsettling is that Toxoplasma gondii can also infect humans, typically through contact with cat waste or undercooked meat. While the effects on humans are still being studied, there's evidence suggesting that it might influence human behavior as well, potentially altering risk-taking behaviors or even contributing to mental health issues like schizophrenia. Coming in at number 3 is the hairworm. Hairworms begin their lives as larvae in water, where they are consumed by mayfly larvae. Inside the mayfly larvae is exactly where the hairworm wants to be. The hairworm uses its pointed end to burrow into the larva's flesh and sits tight, waiting for the mayfly larvae to turn into adults and head to dry land. Once the mayflies leave the water, they are often eaten by crickets or praying mantises, just as the hairworm intended. It starts to consume all the fat within the cricket or mantis over the course of about a month. As the hairworm reaches maturity, it manipulates the insect's behavior in a deadly manner. The parasite releases chemicals that affect the host's central nervous system, compelling the insect to seek out water, an environment crickets and praying mantises typically avoid. Once the insect reaches a body of water, it's driven to leap in. The hairworm then emerges, wriggling out of the insect's body to continue its life in the water. At number 2, we encounter the cordyceps fungus, a parasite that turns its host into a literal zombie. Found primarily in tropical rainforests, the cordyceps fungus targets insects, particularly ants, with terrifying precision. The process begins when an ant comes into contact with the fungal spores. These spores attach themselves to the ant's exoskeleton and begin to penetrate its body, eventually taking over the ant's central nervous system. Once the fungus has established itself inside the ant, it releases chemicals that hijack the ant's brain. The ant, now under the fungus's control, leaves its colony and climbs to a high point, often a leaf or a branch. Here, the ant clamps down with its mandibles in a death grip, securing itself in place. The ant remains there, motionless as the fungus consumes it from the inside. As the ant's body is devoured, the fungus grows a stalk out of the ant's head, which then releases spores into the air. These spores drift down to the forest floor, where they can infect other ants, continuing the cycle of zombification. The cordyceps fungus is a master of parasitic control, turning its hosts into unwitting agents of its own reproduction, a process as horrifying as it is fascinating. At number 1, we have the jewel wasp, a parasite whose method of control is as intricate as it is horrifying. The jewel wasp preys on cockroaches, but instead of simply killing its prey, the wasp has a far more sinister plan. The wasp begins by delivering a precise sting to the cockroach's midsection, temporarily paralyzing it. This first sting is just the beginning. Next, the wasp delivers a second, more targeted sting directly into the cockroach's brain. This sting doesn't kill the roach, but instead injects venom that blocks its escape response, effectively turning the cockroach into a docile zombie. With the roach under its control, the jewel wasp leads it by the antenna to a burrow, where it lays an egg on the roach's abdomen. The wasp then seals the burrow, leaving the cockroach trapped inside. As the wasp larva hatches, it begins to feed on the cockroach, consuming it alive from the inside out. The cockroach remains alive for several days, serving as a living food source for the developing larva, until it eventually dies. A new jewel wasp then emerges from the inside, ready to continue the cycle. Curious for more? Watch this video in which we reveal the top 7 weirdest sharks in the world.